we get an interesting game. This is round 4 of the candidates. Javokir Sindarov from Uzbekistan versus Fabiano Caruana. I'm confusing names now. Okay, so we start with d4, d5, c4, again a Queen's Gambit, and a Queen's Gambit decline after e6. However, after knight f3, Fab is gonna take the pawn, so it transposes into a Queen's Gambit accepted. e3, knight to f6, bishop takes on c4, c5, castle, knight c6, we get the knights out, queen to e2, a6, knight to c3, b5. Okay, all of these moves have been played before, bishop to d3, bishop to b7, and now a4. Perfect, so the most common move here is to play c4, hitting the bishop. B takes on a4 had also been played before. So we're taking the format of Agatmator, right? b4 is a novelty in the game, according to this database anyway. Okay, so now we can always move the knight here, here. No, Sindarov plays the best move in the position, knight to e4. Okay, and now we get knight to a5, hitting this knight twice. But to me, it's like, what is this knight doing? We pay you money to be here, knight in the game. Don't get away. But okay, no, we don't pay him anything. Okay, knight to f5. The knights get traded. G takes on f6. And the idea of putting the knight here was to put it on b3, right? So after we take the pawn, knight to b3. Any normal chess player, we just move the rook. Rook b1, maybe. We're gonna get a brilliant c6, right? So if they take the rook, this is bad. This is bad for black. So here they're forced to take, and now we're forcing the trade of knights, right? We're hitting the knight, we're hitting the bishop, but we're also opening up the position. Knight takes on b4. Okay, we take the pawn, and here is this the question? Okay, can we take this pawn? Yeah, black can take the pawn, it's not a problem. Although it gets a little bit awkward, right? Because now you give white all the piece activity. Bishop to e3. Now the queen has to be moved. And then we can even play f3, for example. And yeah, it's very awkward to play for black. Okay, so instead of taking the pawn, Fabi plays rook to g8. Okay, going for some kind of attack here on this side of the board. Okay, so Sindarov has to defend, g3. We get f5. f5 is the first inaccuracy of the game. Fabi wants to create an outpost for the rook. So here. However, the best move was to take the pawn. This is what the computer wants. Perfect. f5, bishop to c4. Giving some air to this bishop as it's being blocked by all these pawns. Now rook to g4, getting the outpost we mentioned before. Bishop to e3, protecting the pawn. Bishop to d5. And as you can tell, this pawn is hanging, right? This pawn is hanging. We don't even have to rush it because there is an improvement move. We improve the rook a to c1. Okay, bishop to e7. And black's pieces, yeah, I mean, if we're counting move 20 and you are moving this bishop, this is bad, right? This is bad for black. Now bishop takes on e6, the pawn was hanging. And what do? Like, if you push the pawn, let's say we push the pawn here, we're just giving a free check, right? And the king has to move now. A beautiful outpost for the bishop. So this pawn structure was bad, in my opinion, because this pawn b4 was pushed earlier. And now you have this problem of this pawn structure. Okay, bishop takes on a6, king f8, bishop to b5, bishop f6. And bishop f6 was considered a mistake. Computer wants to play h5, right? Going for some kind of attack here. Now bishop to f6, rook to d1, king to g7, bishop to c6, offering the trade of bishops here, because this is also hanging. So rook to a5, bishop takes on d5, rook takes. And this pawn is going to be weak. right? Is sorry, this pawn is weak. So future we want to push a d5. Okay, rook to c5, rook to d7, and double pawns here. That's why white has the advantage, right? Also we have an extra pawn. Okay, d5, e takes on d5. That was not the best move in the position. Rook to e4, wait a second. Rook to e4 was a slightly better try to activate the pieces, to activate the rook, also hit these two pieces for white. Okay, it takes on d5 is an inaccuracy because the simplification is going to help white. Queen to f3, hitting these two pawns. Bishop takes on b2. And also a question, which pawn do you take here? I think both are fine. Center pawns are usually more important. So we take the pawn in the center and we trade everything. Rook takes back. Queen to e8. The queen has to be moved. This pawn is hanging. Okay, rook takes on f5. Now the rook is hanging. Rook to g6. And Sindarov doesn't even take so much time to play h4. The plan is clear. h4 and now h5. Bishop to c3. Okay, h5. The rook is hanging. Have to move it. Rook to a6. Queen to g4 check. And at this moment, if you look at the streaming, he took 2 or 3 minutes to move. He completely sees that this is the winning move, right? Queen to g4. But Sindarov takes his moment to pause. He takes a sip of water. A 20-year-old who is doing that, that's impressive. Okay, so queen to g4 check, king to h8, and this is completely winning, right? It's just king safety. Okay, bishop to d4, forcing the trade of bishops. Okay, FIDE tries to protect the diagonal here. And after rook to c5, FIDE resigns. He understands that anything is losing anyway. For example, here you can have to trade the bishops. Bishop takes on d4, for example. We can take back with the queen even. So queen to f8, defending the pawn. Okay, we can infiltrate with the rook. And yeah, it's too much. It's just too much here. We can win another pawn. We're pushing h6 later. It's completely winning. And at this point, even rook to c5, FIDE resign. And now Sindarov is in the lead in the open section with 3.5 points, I think, if I am not mistaken, out of 4, which is a very good score